In the fog-choked sprawl of Varnholt's Iron Quarter, Elias Crowe came into the world 39 years ago amid the clang of hammers and the slow poison of stagnation. The mills never slept. Men aged fast, lungs blackened, hope extinguished one shift at a time. Elias watched his father, once a man of quiet strength and clever hands, wither into a coughing husk feeding the very furnaces that consumed him. That slow death, that incremental erasure of spirit, was the future staring back at him. He refused it. At 18, when the Continental meat grinder erupted, the savage infantry war of the 1910s that chewed through generations in mud-choked trenches and bayonet-lit nights, he chose the promise of swift extremes over lingering decay. Death or glory, quick and bright, better a bullet in the chest than decades of coal dust in the throat. He enlisted not out of patriotism but out of revulsion for the slow rot waiting at home. Private Crowe became a rifleman in the meat assaults, charging across wire into machine gun fire, fighting hand-to-hand in craters where bodies became cover, surviving by turning colder than the winter rain that never stopped falling. He came back in 1919, fractured but alive, the war's hollow echo lodged in his skull. Varnholt had not changed, still a machine that ground men down, but the high councils had imposed prohibition, banning liquor in the name of moral purity. Elias saw the lie for what it was, another cage dressed as virtue. From a knot of desperate toughs, he built the Crowe network. At its heart lay the Iron Veil, a subterranean casino beneath a derelict foundry where gas lamps flickered over green felt and fortunes changed hands in silence. Around it spread a web of speakeasies, tea rooms by day, dens of bootleg gin by night, linked by hidden passages through which liquor flowed like blood. Politicians and factory lords took their cut to look the other way. Rivals who refused vanished quietly. He never married. A woman who once sang in one of his bars came too close, then disappeared after a deal turned sour. Dead, fled, or simply erased. It no longer mattered. His father, the only parent who had ever mattered, died shielding him from a rival's bullets in a back alley bar, blood soaking the sawdust while Elias watched, helpless for the first time since the trenches. His younger brother teetered on ruin. Drink, brawls, bad bets. His son, conceived in a fleeting moment of unguarded weakness, grew up behind locked doors and armed shadows, learning early that trust was a luxury the powerful could not afford. And yet Elias climbed higher. The network's money bought influence. Influence bought legitimacy. He secured a seat in the National Assembly, not through ideals, but through leverage, favors, and the quiet understanding that every man has a price. He sits now among the Republic's lawmakers, coat impeccable, voice measured, trading votes and silence for protection of his empire. To the public, he is a reformed veteran, a businessman who rose from the slums. To those who know the truth, he is something darker. A man who profits from vice while wearing the mask of reform, who eliminates threats without remorse, who bends the law because he helped write the exceptions. Evil. The word fits loosely like an ill-tailored suit. He does not revel in cruelty for its own sake. He simply refuses to be its victim. The war taught him that morality is a luxury for those who can afford to lose. He protects what is his brother-son empire with whatever ruthlessness the moment demands. He drowns the ghosts in opium and whiskey, because the alternative is to feel the full weight of every life he has ended, every promise he has broken, every lie he has told himself to keep moving. Triumphs are ash in his mouth. Joy is a stranger. Peace is a word for men who have never chosen between a quick death and a slow one. Elias stepped out of the fifth psychologist's office and paused in the dim hallway, shoulders squared but jaw tight. His eyes were dry, his breathing steady, almost too steady. Inside the room he'd just left, the psychologist sat slumped in his chair, face pale, hands trembling as he wiped at his own tears. The man had broken down midway through the session, sobs racking him, voice cracking as he begged Elias not to hurt him, not to send men after him, not to ruin his life the way the rumors said Elias ruined lives. Elias had sat motionless, watching the display with the same detached calm he used at negotiation tables. He hadn't raised his voice, hadn't even stood up. He'd simply waited until the psychologist's panic ran dry, then rose, nodded once, and walked out. He had tried fake names, changed appointments, wore plain coats, but the political campaign posters were everywhere, his face staring back from bus stops, newspapers, assembly billboards. And the rumors followed faster than the posters. The casino king, the war ghost, the man who buried more than he mourned. No one looked at him without the weight of the stories. 5 psychologists now, and every single one had eventually cracked, not from Elias's words, but from the myth they carried in their heads before he even opened his mouth. He lit a cigarette with steady fingers, inhaled hard, and started walking instead of climbing into the black car idling at the curb. The driver watched him go but said nothing. Elias needed the cold air, the rhythm of boots on pavement, anything to shake off the sour taste of another failed hour. Halfway down the block he stopped, flicked ash, looked up at the unremarkable office building across the street. A small brass plaque caught the streetlight, Cosmic Humanism Philosophical Consulting. Floor 4. He stared at it for a long moment, then he dropped the cigarette, ground it under his heel and crossed the road. The stairs were narrow and poorly lit. Each step echoed. By the time he reached the 4th floor, his breathing had evened out completely. He found the door, simple wood, no ostentatious sign, and knocked twice, firm. The door opened almost immediately. Jacob stood there, mid-30s perhaps, wire-rimmed glasses slightly askew, a half-read book still in one hand. Surprise flashed across his face, genuine, unguarded, before settling into quiet curiosity. "Mr. Crowe," Jacob said softly, "what brings you to my humble office?" Elias looked past him. The walls were lined floor to ceiling with bookshelves, spines worn and mismatched. Here and there, framed prints of mathematical formulas, elegant, almost artistic, hung like paintings. Equations danced in black ink against white paper. For the first time in longer than he could remember, something dangerously close to laughter rose in Elias's throat. He swallowed it. "Hello, counselor," he said, voice rough but level. "I was passing by, intrigued. Maybe a philosopher can do what 5 therapists failed to do." Jacob tilted his head, book still held loosely at his side. "And what is that, Mr. Crowe?" Elias met his eyes, held them, looking me in the eye like a normal fucking person. Jacob laughed, a short, warm sound without mockery. "My good sir," he said, stepping aside to let Elias enter, "you are no normal person, but fortunately for you." He closed the door behind them with a soft click. "Neither am I." Elias stepped inside. The room smelled faintly of old paper, coffee, and something herbal. Sage, perhaps. No couch, no clipboard. Just 2 armchairs facing each other across a low oak table, a single lamp casting warm light over the shelves. Jacob gestured toward one of the chairs. "Whenever you're ready, Mr. Crowe," Jacob said quietly. Elias looked down at his scarred hands, then back up. "Elias," he said, "just Elias." Jacob smiled faintly. "Then Elias, you are welcome to light up a cigarette. Would you like anything to drink?" Elias leaned back slightly in the chair and studied Jacob for a long moment, the faintest trace of a smirk touching the corner of his mouth. "Cigarette, aye." He reached into his coat, pulled out the silver case, flipped it open, selected one, lit it with a quick match. The flame caught his pale eyes for a second before he inhaled deeply and exhaled toward the ceiling. "Whiskey, neat, good stuff only." He paused, cigarette between 2 fingers, gaze fixed. "You always start like this? Smokes and drink before the questions? Clever. Disarms a man." A small, dry chuckle. "Pour it, let's see what makes you abnormal." Jacob shifted in his seat, fingers lightly drumming once on the armrest before stilling. He met Elias's eyes steadily. "I'd rather skip the alcohol. I used to pair cigarettes with black Turkish coffee. Care to join me? I haven't smoked in years, but sitting here with you, philosophy and a cigarette, I'd regret passing it up." "Black Turkish coffee. Strong? I respect that strong. You quit years ago and now you want one just to sit with me, generous or calculated. Either way, honest." Aye, coffee and a cigarette, no whiskey tonight. Brew it strong. While it boils, tell me why a man who gave up smoke suddenly wants one with me. Philosophy usually doesn't need tobacco unless the questions are heavy. Why I don't have another reason than it would be a fun experience to have. May I? Fun, that's your story, entertaining. Most people who sit with Elias Crowe want money, protection, revenge, a favor, or to confess something. But you, nothing yet. Just the experience, the talk, the smoke, the philosophy. Take one. But let's be clear, Jacob, fun doesn't last in my world. Philosophy's just a prettier word for asking why the fuck we're still breathing when so many aren't. So, smoke, coffee, me. What's the first real question? From what I know, life has been much more cruel to you than benevolent. Yet here you are, not with a psychologist but a philosopher. That tells me you're not after painkillers. You're after an actual reason, not to kill yourself. You're not wrong. Life's been a bastard. Took more than it gave. Left holes nothing fills. Nights when the only thing between me and the river was the next plan, the next enemy. But that's the wrong question. Not reason not to kill myself. Too clean. I've stared down barrels, buried my father, watched others break. If it was just not wanting to die, I'd be gone. What keeps me here is uglier. Stubbornness, spite. If I go, they win. The generals, the barons, the ones who sent us into the meat. I won't let them have that, not yet. But it's not living, it's moving. The machine's getting heavy lately. Plans keep coming, victories pile up, and still the quiet comes. When the opium fades, when the casino empties, that's when the real question hits. Not, why don't I die? But why the fuck am I still alive? And what do I do with it? So tell me, philosopher, no platitudes, no pills, real talk. If there's no God, no heaven, no design, just chaos, blood, dust. What does a man do with a life he never asked for but refuses to give back? You externalize the reason for your suffering and make it a purpose to seek justice. Yet you and I both know it wasn't the generals or the councils who sent you into the meat assaults. Who was it, Elias, that truly led you into that hell? Me. I signed up, volunteered. Thought it was escape, glory, faster than the mills. The generals pulled strings, aye, but I walked into those assaults, charged the wire, killed in the craters, believed in something bigger than Varnholt. Knowing that changes nothing. Blaming myself just adds another ghost. The trenches were the mirror, showed me what happens when you choose hell thinking it's escape. Now every empire I build is another trench, deeper, darker. But I keep digging. So what does your philosophy say? If I led myself there, how do I lead myself out? You need to understand what led you in to let yourself out. It's not about blame, it's about responsibility. You put your agency in the wrong hands. Truth is, any hand would have been the wrong hand. The only right one is yours. So tell me, why did you choose to believe in the promise of death or glory over the slow death of stagnation? Elias stared at the table, rolling the cigarette between his fingers. The promise. A soft snort, bitter. It wasn't really a choice. Glory or a quick end, the posters, the recruiters, the lads signing up like it was an adventure. I was 18. Varnholt was a cage, coal dust, poverty, slow rot. The war promised speed, a chance to burn bright instead of fading. He leaned forward, voice dropping. But you're right. I handed over my agency like a fool, believed the lie because it felt like truth, charged for a flag I didn't understand. A wry smile faded. So what now? If my hands are the only right ones, how do I trust them after all this? You were sold a lie you wanted to believe because of your circumstances. Now I think you'll agree. War is nothing but old, bitter men convincing stupid young ones to kill each other. So if the downfall was a lie, what can lift you up but truth? Nothing. But what is truth? I have an answer that has proven useful if you're interested. Aye. Old, bitter men, stupid young ones. That's the arithmetic of every war. I knew it even then under the drums. But knowing and believing are different trenches. I needed to believe. The alternative, Varnholt forever, scraping by until the mills took me, was worse than dying for nothing. He leaned forward, forearms on the table, eyes steady. The lie took everything, left me hollowed out. So if truth is the only thing that can lift a man back up. A faint pause. Then I'm listening. What is it, Jacob? What truth holds weight when the night comes and the ghosts talk? I've heard plenty. Republic, Family, revenge, legacy. None stopped the bleeding. He tilted his head. Tell me yours. Don't dress it up. I've had enough poetry. There is existence. Existence is simply that which is. Reality is any mental construct or image we create. Truth is when a reality accurately depicts a part of existence. The bleak future you saw in your city was nothing but your mental image. Hardship made you resent and dread it. But that was a reality you created. Not necessarily true, as you've proved since you came back from the war. You got caught up in lies, and it seems you've done nothing but run from more lies, paradoxically creating your own. Jacob saw a cold anger in Elias' eye. If I offend you, you are free to kill me. I began this session ready to die. Elias watched him without moving. He exhaled slowly through his nose. You began this ready to die. Quiet, tasting the words. That's either the bravest thing I've heard or the stupidest. He leaned forward, hands open on the table. You're not wrong about the lies. I've told them, been told them, built empires on them. The bleak future in Varnholt? I painted it blacker because staying felt like suffocation. So I ran to the front, then back, then from the ghosts with money and plans. Every escape was just another lie I wrote myself. He paused, eyes narrowing. Existence, he tested the word. That which is, no stories, no flags, no duty, just this. He gestured loosely at the room, the cold coffee. Jacob. A small nod. I don't kill men for speaking truth, even less when they're willing to say it plainly. Most people lie to stay alive. You're offering the opposite. Bizarre. He leaned back, arms crossed. So suppose I accept it. Existence is what is. Reality is what I make. Truth is when they line up. He tilted his head. Then tell me this, because I've spent 20 years failing to make them line up. How does a man stop running from his own stories, when those stories are the only thing that kept him from putting a bullet in his mouth after my father died? When the only thing louder than silence is the voice saying, keep moving or it catches up. What do you do when the truth left is that you survived, and nothing else? You either accept that you exist and commit to stop lying, or you exercise your free will and give up like a coward. Also, I am not brave. I'm risking my life to fulfill my purpose and give my love to the world in the way I exist to. Today, you are my purpose, Elias. Elias said nothing for the longest moment. The room felt smaller. His hands stayed clasped. The unlit cigarette lay forgotten. You're not lying now. A slow nod. I can smell it, raw. He leaned forward again. Existence, commitment, no more lies or give up. He repeated it like tasting metal. Simple, brutal, clean. Most men dodge that fork forever. You dropped it here and dared me to pick. A ghost of a bitter smile. You say today I'm your purpose, risking your neck to give love your way. He tilted his head. Dangerous to say to a man like me. Most who claimed to love me ended up dead or broken. My father, the singer who vanished, the one still breathing, carry scars I put there. He exhaled slowly. No smoke, just breath. But you're not asking for love back. You're just here, saying what most won't, willing to pay with your life. I've never been good at accepting gifts I didn't earn, but this, it's a mirror, and I'm looking. So suppose I choose the first path. Accept I exist. No more running from my stories. No more empires to outrun the quiet. No more lies to keep the machine turning. What comes next, Jacob? Not the grand map, the next hour. The next morning when the ghosts are still there, but I don't reach for opium or the next plan. What does a man do, hour by hour, when he stops lying, and the only truth is he's still breathing, still hurting, still here? Jacob looked at Elias with calculated compassion. You need to grieve. Have you ever let yourself cry? Elias's breath caught for a second. His hands tightened on the table, knuckles whitening, then loosened. He looked away briefly, then back, eyes darker. Cry. The word sounded rough. Proper tears, not the kind swallowed with whiskey or turned into rage. A dry exhale, half laugh, half broken. I cried once the night my father died, in the back room above the bar, alone, blood on the floor. I sat until the screaming in my head quieted enough to hear my own breathing. Cried like a child, like the boy who charged the wire thinking he'd come back whole. He paused, jaw working. After that, nothing. Not when the singer vanished. Not when my brother nearly broke, tears dried up, or I buried them. Crying feels like surrender, like admitting the world won. He leaned forward. I've grieved my way, revenge, silence, building, destroying, keeping family alive. That's my mourning. Tears don't bring anyone back. They don't stop bullets. They make a man weak when he can't afford it. Eyes locked on Jacob's. But you're asking if I've let myself, if I've allowed it. Sat with the pain long enough to let it break me first. Long silence. I don't know how. Quiet admission. Last time I tried, it nearly finished me, so I locked it away. Grief's a luxury poor men can't afford. I've never been poor again. He tilted his head. You think crying would change anything? Let the dam break and the ghosts leave? Or would they just drown me? He took a slow breath. Tell me how a man like me grieves without losing control, because if I start, I'm not sure I stop, and people depend on me not stopping. Ever. Pain is temporary. Crying, surrendering, allowing your spirit to break. It's no different from breaking your muscles a little so they heal stronger. Try to surrender. You may find you build back better, stronger, whole. Elias listened without interrupting. His shoulders eased a fraction. Pain is temporary, he repeated it slowly. They told us that in the trenches too. Gas is temporary. Mud's temporary. Just hold the line, it'll pass. A soundless laugh. But it didn't pass, it settled, became bone. Every time I pushed through, built bigger to prove it wasn't there, it dug deeper. He glanced at his scarred hands, flexed them once, looked back. You're saying surrender isn't weakness, it's training, breaking to grow harder. A thoughtful nod. I've broken plenty. Men. Promises. Myself. Never thought of letting it happen on purpose. Long pause. I don't know how to let it break without everything else breaking, the family, the network, the name. If I cry like an ordinary man, how do I face my son tomorrow? How do I walk into the casino or the assembly without showing weakness? Voice lowered. But you're right about one thing. I've built on rotten foundations too long. Maybe the only way is to let it collapse first. Let it hurt properly. See what's left. I won't promise tonight or tomorrow. I've trained myself not to feel for too long, but I'll try. Not because I believe it'll make me whole yet, but because you're sitting here telling a man people cross the street to avoid that it's safe to fall apart. That's not nothing. Quiet for a beat. If I do this, if I grieve properly, what happens when the tears stop? Do I wake up and the world looks different, or just tired with the same ghosts but maybe lighter? A slow breath. Tell me what you've seen in others. When they surrendered. When the spirit cracked open, what came after? Jacob's smile was small but warm, his hands opening slightly in a gesture of openness. I myself experienced exactly what I told you. My spirit grew strong enough to risk my life for a man in need. I became relentless in my practice. I gained conviction to serve existence my own way. Emotional wounds you don't treat with grief only make you weaker than you actually are. You've done it, not theorized, lived it. Risked your neck for strangers. That's not paper philosophy, that's blood on the floor, and you're still here. Stronger, you say. Conviction instead of doubt. Purpose instead of running. I've spent years cauterizing wounds. Burn the edges shut, keep moving. Thought it made me unbreakable. Turns out it made me brittle. You're saying the opposite. Let it bleed, grieve clean. Scar tissue grows thicker, tougher, whole. I believe you. Not because it sounds nice, because I see it in you. You're steady, not shaking, not hiding. You're offering the path as proof it can be walked. So I'll try, not all at once, but I'll stop running from the grief, sit with it. Let it break what needs breaking, see if what's left stands taller. And if it doesn't, if the tears come and the ghosts get louder, you'll hear about it. A man doesn't forget the one who handed him the key when all doors seemed locked. Thank you, Jacob, not for the words, for the proof, for sitting here and saying you'd die to give it. What now? Keep talking? Or do I go home and start the hardest thing I've ever done? Nothing, just feel it. He took a sip of the cold coffee, grimaced at the bitterness, set it down with a wry smile. Either way, I'm listening. Jacob's fingers tapped the table once, then he gestured for another cigarette, his posture relaxed but attentive. When you feel the desire to self-medicate, Ask yourself why you're reaching for it. Sit and write possible causes, possible wounds. If you feel like it, go to a therapist to unpack. If you like, my door is always open. He signaled again for the cigarette. Brace yourself. Your conscience is going to kick your ass for all the transgressions you've committed against existence, misguided by mere realities. Elias watched Jacob gesture for the cigarette. He opened the case again, offered it first, lit his own when Jacob took one. Self-medicate. He repeated it quietly. Opium, whiskey, the next plan, the next vote. I've reached for all of them, never asked why, just dulled the noise. A pause. Write it down, you say, causes, wounds. Sit with paper and pen like confessing to a priest, except the priest is me and the sins are mine. A quiet chuckle. I've never been much for confession. Too many priests end up in shallow graves when they hear too much. No threat, just fact. But I can see it. The list growing, my father, the singer, the lads from the assaults, the men I killed who didn't deserve it, the ones who did, the boy who signed up for a lie and came back a monster. Voice lower. And the biggest, knowing I chose it. Every step, every lie to keep going, every one more move instead of feeling the weight. My conscience, it's been quiet, buried under the network, under the blood. But if I stop running, if I let the truth bleed onto paper, it'll wake up roaring, tear into me for every transgression, every time I treated existence like a battlefield. I won't pretend I'm ready tonight, but I'll do it. Not because I'm brave, because I've run out of places to hide. The opium doesn't work anymore, plans feel hollow, the empire grows, and I'm still hollow underneath. Your door's open. That's more than most get, more than I deserve. But I'll take it. Not today, maybe not tomorrow. But when the list gets too long, when conscience kicks the door down, I'll come back. Until then, thank you for not flinching, for telling a man who scares people that it's time to be scared of himself, for saying it plain. I'll see myself out. And Jacob, if I don't come back for a while, don't think I ran. Think I'm finally sitting still long enough to let it hurt. Good night.